We are welcoming Alex Kirles from Angostura Rums.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. What's super cool about Alex is he is a local boy, and he is now the national ambassador for Angostura. And this was because of actually a competition you won.
Correct, yeah.
We interviewed you about that competition. I don't know if we have that video, or not video, but that slide. So this was Bar Sports League Network News that I produced. And we got Alex up in the corner, and we got the other shot of me interviewing him. Look at that. Look at that baby face.
That slicked back hair. You don't get that every day.
Well, let's find out your meteoric rise to fame. Do you remember your first drink?
I do, actually. It was Sailor Jerry's and Coke.
Okay, a little rum and Coke.
Yeah, rum and Coke.
All right. And then what was the first drink you made?
First drink I ever made, I was still a bar back at Sugar House. It was actually French rum, don't tell Angostura. French rum, strawberry syrup, falernum, fresh lemon juice, and saline solution. And I had to wait until a full year for our spring menu to put it finally on the menu. It was called the Pink Monkey Paw.
So talk about saline a little bit, because I feel like many bartenders know about that, but I think the public is not very familiar with that.
It's just quite literally and a little dash of salt, right? It adds a little bit of complexity, a little depth of flavor. When you think about what salt and pepper do to food, salt enhances, pepper changes. You're just trying to bring out more acidity out of your citrus, a little bit more sweetness, or trying to subdue it a little bit. It's all about how much you put into it and what your overall end game should be.
Yeah, saline solution. You'll see that on menus a lot.
Yeah.
So what kind of convinced you as a young one to be like, I'm going to embrace cocktails?
It was, honestly, I was going to school. I was a valet, I was a tutor, and I was bar baking at Sugar House. And it was a great inspiration to watch those gentlemen behind the bar crafting cocktails, talking to guests, the breadth of knowledge that they had. And I knew at a certain point that that is what I wanted to do, and I went all in. I haven't looked back.
And was Sugar House your first service job?
I wouldn't say first service job. Would you count Tim Hortons as a first service job?
I think that's fantastic, because you were probably laying the foundation for Sugar House.
Yeah, that was back when I was 17, 18 years old.
Okay.
Then I was a valet for a time in downtown Detroit. Then came the Sugar House job, and from there, a multitude of jobs.
So give me a good life lesson from Tim Hortons.
Get out.
There you go. So you were a bar back at Sugar House. Eventually, you were promoted.
Correct.
To bartender.
Correct.
And from there, it just kind of went crazy. Would you have changed anything you did in that process? How you've kind of learned to be a bartender?
I don't necessarily think I would change anything, other than I would tell myself not to take everything so personally. It's a long road sometimes to becoming a bartender, especially at a really highly respected cocktail bar.
Right.
And it's not always going to be a very fun journey. So, take everything with a grain of salt. No one's there to make sure you don't get there, but it takes a while, and just don't take things too personally. Well,
and part of that comes with competitions.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first competition?
DCD in 2015, I think.
Okay.
It was their summer of gin. The winner got to craft their own gin with the head distiller.
So Detroit City Distillery.
Yeah.
That was their summer of gin, which I think Chaz won.
I believe so, yeah.
Yep. So obviously the competitions, you go in, you're excited, you're like, oh, I'm going to win this, and then you don't, and you're like, well, crap.
Yeah. It's easy to get down on yourself and think about what you could have done differently, other than looking back at it and be like, I came in, I did exactly what I wanted to. Yeah. Obviously, it wasn't good enough, and hopefully you learn from that experience and grow a little bit.
So do you remember your first win?
It was Angostura.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Sure.
This is the Global Cocktail Challenge.
Correct.
Yep.
So it's a biannually event. So the next one will be coming up this next fall.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So does that mean you could be out?
We'll see. I'll probably want to be one of the judges for it.
Cool. Okay.
For the American leg, and then hopefully they'll fly me down to Trinidad again. That'd be a lot of fun. But it's definitely something that I feel like I shouldn't say that, but a lot of bartenders enter every competition they can, because it's a great way to network, it's a great way to gain recognition, and it's a great way to practice. However, there are a lot of bars or bartenders that don't necessarily maybe want to work for the brand in the end game, which is where when I finally competed for Angostura, I knew this is a brand I could definitely see myself working for, and I went more into it than I've ever done for any other competition.
Yeah, it's tough. It's not like there's a pucker competition.
Right.
And you're just like, I want to be your brand ambassador. Yeah. No, but I think Angostura is great. You think of the product the bitter product is so well known.
Yeah.
Almost to the fact that when you go into a bar, that's maybe the only bitter they have.
It's ubiquitous, yeah.
Yeah. And now that they have the other products coming out, which we'll talk about in a second, they're really starting to diversify and like really becoming this powerhouse beyond just the bitters. So what's it like being a brand ambassador? Are you
Exhausting.
always traveling? Yeah.
Exhausting. I do a lot of the bulk of my traveling was this past summer. Okay. We had a nationwide cocktail competition called the Swizzle Royale, where I was one of the judges for one of the 5 American cities, 2 Canadian cities. I only went to Toronto instead of Montreal, and then I went to Bar Convent Brooklyn, which is the first iteration of the stateside Tales of the Cocktail. I'll be going to Texas, Austin this upcoming weekend. LA in January. I was out in California earlier this year. It's a lot of traveling. It's very exhausting. It definitely requires you to keep you on your toes.
And what's Trinidad like?
Beautiful.
Yeah?
Yeah. Lots of rum, lots of coconut water.
I bet.
Yeah.
So you're coming from Michigan. I feel like a lot of brand ambassadors are from the coasts. Mm-hmm. Did that have any challenges, being kind of more of a flyover state ambassador?
I wouldn't say necessarily a challenge, but it's definitely caused me to look at it from a different angle. A lot of brand ambassadors either live in Chicago, New York City, Texas, Florida, or California. Mm-hmm. And to be from a relatively very small market in comparison to those, it's definitely it's required me to travel more. Instead of just being able to stay in my home market and do a lot of events, I've been required to go out of market quite often. Okay.
So what's it like to work for Angostura? Like, is it, you don't have like an office.
Yeah. My house is my office.
Your house is your office, okay.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun being able to walk into a bar, introduce yourself as the brand ambassador for Angostura, and instantly people are like, I have your product. And I'm like, no, I know.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let's have a drink.
Yeah.
Do you have any well, let's talk about the current products.
Sure.
So obviously we have the bitters.
We have our new.
Didn't break. We have the Amaro, which launched
2015
in 2015.
America. Correct.
And then you have these 2 rums, which I am not as familiar with.
So we have our 5-year and our 7-year, both distilled from molasses that we have to source from well-respected Caribbean and South American countries. Okay. All using proprietary yeast that we developed in the 1940s, which is held in London in a scientifically secure warehouse where it's kept under certain pressurized and temperature control so it doesn't change. All column still and all blends of light and heavy body styled rums.
Both Michigan-ish?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's
and then we have our LLB.
Yeah.
This is our first product we launched in the world. It was a non-alcoholic. It's a lemon lime bitter soda. It's already wildly popular down in Trinidad and Australia. It's pretty new here to Michigan, and I'm definitely trying to showcase it to as many restaurants, bars, and off-premise accounts as I can.
Another kind of interesting inside tip for bartenders is when they don't want to drink, they'll often do club soda with a couple shots of bitters.
Correct.
And it's also a nice way to taste bitters too, which I think is a lot of fun. Any sneak peeks for new products?
I can't say.
Can't say, but there are some.
Can't say.
Give me a travel story, like a favorite travel story so far.
Favorite travel story, I was down in New Orleans for Tales of the Cocktail with Daniel Jones, who was our global brand ambassador. He's from Trinidad. He's been our global rep for about 5 or 6 years at this point. Okay. And he is just nonstop. The guy's just walking to everywhere. Even if he doesn't know you, want to know him. And it was just welcome. I don't know. I've never been with someone like that before in my life. And he's been a great mentor and a great friend. And I can't tell too many of those stories.
I mean, these are tough jobs.
New Orleans.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, these are tough jobs because you're always on.
Yeah.
And you're just like, let's go party. And you're like, I don't want to party.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough because you're drinking a lot.
Yeah.
So you got to be safe. You got to be healthy. We really covered most of this stuff. I would say at this point, we would like to challenge you to a game.
I love games.
Are you interested?
Yeah.
All right.
Beautiful.
So can we grab someone from the audience?
Oh, sir, why don't you come on down?
Raise his hand.
There you go.
That's all you got to do.
Wow. Come on down.
Hello, random person.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Plug
How you
you in
doing?
really quick.
Alex. Sean, it's a pleasure. Should I be behind the bar? It's just where I feel natural.
It's going to be the 2 of you guys.
Okay.
And boy, we lost the microphone. Where'd it go? All right. Come on back here, Sean. Mystery person. Introduce yourself.
Hi, Sean Williamson.
Hi, Sean. Alex,
It's a
Kirles.
pleasure.
And Sean, where are you joining us from?
Washington, D.C.
So you drove all the way here just for this show.
Yeah, I actually flew. I couldn't wait to get here. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Sean and I are friends from high school, so thank you so much for coming out. So what we are doing with this show is we are calling this cocktail charades. So what we are going to have you do, Alex, is you are going to teach Sean how to make a drink without talking.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm going to leave you two to do that, and I'll be back shortly.
Alrighty. So.
Nope.
Just the so is the preparation. That's the last word, but this is the last so. So.
You can talk if you want, Sean.
So you want me to? This one. All right. Smell it. Pull it.
So
2.
we got some mint.
4. Okay, 4. 4 leaves of mint. 8 leaves of mint. All right. This good?
All right, Sean, put the glass up here. And then
All
we can
right.
get a zoom in. Perfect.
All right. 3 to 4. Oh, 3 ounces. No. Down 2 ounces. 1 ounce. 3/4 of an ounce. All right. Do we have a jigger somewhere? All right. Three-fourths. I don't see it.
Don't be shy.
Oh, some lime juice. All right. Same.
Give Sean a round of applause.
All right. We need some ice. Fill it up. Level. All right. Oh. All right. Too strong. Can we go 7? All right.
So this is the Angostura rum. This is a 7-year-old rum. Sean is going fancy with this.
Ah.
Good, good. Excellent.
All right. More ice.
Sean, have you ever done drink charades before?
No. This is definitely a first. All right. Do I need to mix it? This guy? All right. Swizzle. All right. That's.
So this is normally done with crushed ice.
All right. And bitters? 8 dashes? All right.
Let's count, everyone. 2.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yay!
That looks fantastic. All right.
And what if we couldn't count?
One of these guys? 3. Just like this? All right.
Yay!
It's like a flag.
That looks fantastic. So the colors are lovely. All right, you are free to talk.
Thank you.
So this is a drink that you're currently basically teaching the nation about right now, right?
Correct. So this is our Queen's Park Swizzle. This is the national drink of Trinidad and Tobago. It's actually the welcome drink at the Queen's Park Hotel, which is now unfortunately closed. But it's a very simple drink. It's usually a bed of mints on the bottom, roughly 8 to 12 mint leaves, depending upon their size. Then you add your rich simple syrup. Right now we're using a demerara I made this morning in my kitchen. It's a 1-to-1, so 1 by weight water to 1 by weight demerara. Fresh squeezed lime juice that I also squeezed in my kitchen this morning. Add a little bit of ice, and you add 2 ounces of your rum. Right now we're preferring Angostura 7-year for its complex, bold, rich coffee aromatic. And you top a little bit more ice. You do a really nice swizzle with your boilele, your cuadrabilla turbinata, your swizzle stick. This is actually a tree down in the Caribbean and South America. This is the stalk. These are the branches. And essentially you shave it down until you get this lovely little swizzle stick. It smells like maple. Smell it. Give it a smell.
Oh, that's nice.
Then you add your aromatic bitters from Angostura, a little bit more fresh ice, and then a really lovely mint sprig.
What do you think, Sean?
Oh, that's good.
Nothing wrong with that.
I get to keep this one, right?
Yeah, that's yours.
All right.
All right, let's give Sean a round of applause, everyone.
Thank you.
Not too confusing, I hope.
All right, so one quick last-minute question we have is the the label on top of here is very emblematic of them.
Yeah.
What is the story behind that?
So it's actually the two youngest brothers were put in charge of designing the bottle and the label. However, they didn't necessarily coordinate as best as they could. And one of them came back from the label manufacturer with a label that was slightly too large for the bottle. They were going into one of these World's Fairs that we were so well known for. Right here we have the World's Fair from Vienna, where we won the Grand Exhibition of Excellence, which is on every single bottle of our bitters. And we actually lost this one right after we created this label, but one of the judges said, this is iconic, we have to stick with it.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.